Oh, you gotta be kidding me. So this is one common thing I see and get asked about quite often with people when it comes to gimlets and also even larger auger bits. It's that every time they try to use it, they split out the end of their piece of work. Now, just to jump back 1 second before you even get into how you mess that up, what's a gimlet? Well, a gimlet's just a small handheld drill, okay? They work great for everything around camp. You just have to think ahead a little bit when it comes to using one of these things. Now, as I shown you in this example, if I was making something, let's just say this was a spatula, pretend spatula down here, and I want to drill a hole in it because I want to hang it up around camp, there's a good chance you're going to split that thing out at the top. And that's common. That's going to happen with this. If you just get after it and start drilling, you're going to split it out. And the reason for that is because of how a gimlet actually works. So a gimlet works, there's a lead screw. That lead screw is the same as if we were putting a screw into the wall at home. It needs to get dug in, that's what's biting into the wood, and it's leading it through the piece that we're cutting. And then when it gets so far down, it actually hits the cutting edge. That lead screw pulls the gimlet through the piece of wood. The cutting area behind it is actually doing the cutting and reaming out the hole itself. Now, with that said, the lead screw up front, when we begin to put this into our piece of wood, is doing nothing except displacing the wood that it's going into, okay? We're not actually removing any material until we get back to the drilling section of the gimlet itself. So with that said, we're just pushing the wood apart. We're pushing it to make room for this lead screw to go in, and that's where the problem occurs. So it's the same theory as if we're trying to split something out. We know that we can utilize the grain or the weakness in the wood in order to push the grain apart and make it split. So by us putting that lead screw in place and displacing the wood, we're pressing the grain apart, and there's a weak point here and it's splitting out. But that's really easy to overcome. So what I have here is a piece of just flat stock that I split out that might be something that at some point we turn to a spatula. So I just outlined what a spatula would look like on here. Now, one trick when it comes to carving that a lot of people miss is that they right away, they want to cut it to length instead of leaving a little bit on each side. Leaving a little bit on each side allows us just more area to hold on to and grip onto when we're making these curves. Then we can finish off at the end by cutting this and shaping it to how we want it. But it's also important when it comes to our gimlet, okay? And the reason why is if we get too close to the end of the wood, just as I showed you at the beginning with that stick, okay, as we displace the wood, there's a weakness there, it splits out. But in this case, before I cut anything or go any further, I know where I want my spatula, we jump ahead a few steps, we actually drill our hole in the back of that handle. Then we can work the rest of the spatula out and it'll be finished when it's done without creating that weak area. So really easily now I can come in here and I can do the same process. So I just find where I want to do that and I start to sink that lead screw in. And now you can see there is wood getting actually removed or reamed out of the hole on here. So I'm just going to finish this process going right through to the other side. So we're all the way through at this point, okay? Now I could just back that out. And now what I did was I created a hole in the piece of the handle where I want it. We didn't create any weak spots because we're far enough in, the wood has strength further out. So now when I go ahead and I carve the rest of this out, I'll be left with a nice hole in the handle and I won't have any chance of it splitting out. And there you have it, my woodland friends, an easy way to add a gimlet hole to any project. It just requires a little bit thinking ahead. Again, great tools. These things come in all different sizes. We keep them in our repair kits, and we also just sell a larger size at the shop. So if you're interested in them, we got them if you need them. But they are a nice little add-on in addition to being able to do some working out here with any kind of wood. So I hope this cleared the air for a lot of people on the gimlets, and hey, another tool for the toolbox. I love that. I love it. That and stay in the woods. I love both, and now it's time to stay in the woods. Hope you enjoyed the video. Check us out at Coalcracker, Bushcraft.com. Until the next video, stay in the woods. Second time.